In this video, we're going to prepare the riverbed for resin, and we're going to go from this to this. Psych. Hey y'all, it is finally time to start scenicking this river here, and let's talk about the plan. When I first built this, my thinking was that I would have a waterfall coming over the edge right here, down this face, turn 90 degrees, and come down this face right here. I've since decided I would like that to split. I still want that to come down here, but I'd also like to have a little waterfall come down this side here and down this little section right there. Now, the problem is I didn't think about that until after I'd built the mountains, and you can see we have a problem. It doesn't make any sense for the water to come down here and then come down here. And I thought about alternatives, but I think realistically what I need to do is I need to remove this chunk to give this a pathway. So it'll come over the edge here, down, split with part of it coming down here. In fact, this will probably be the bulk of it coming down here, and then a little bit coming down here, and maybe some down here. I'm not sure yet. We'll have to take a look at that. So let's start by getting these bridges out of the way, and then we'll come up with a plan. Okay, before I start demolishing parts of the mountain, I want to mock up the waterfall and make sure that everything looks correct proportionally. The amount of water coming off the bottom matches the amount coming off the top, that the flow looks right and all that. And I think the way I'm going to do it is with this. Those are strips of cardstock that I cut, and I've put a little bit of adhesive tape up at the top of the waterfall, and I'm just going to start laying in strips and see where they fall. Let's get started on that.
Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over. Modest tranquility. Said I made up my mind this time. I'm taking it over.
Okay. Well, I'll have to look at that for a bit. I think for sure I need to build up some rocks right here. Otherwise it looks like it should just spill off there, and I don't want that to happen. So we need to build something up here, but otherwise I think that'll work. There'll be a little bit of a gap as it comes off here, and I think that's okay. But, and I guess the question is, do I really want to come across here? Do I want to break that off and come across here, or do I want to come through here? This could be a little bit of a pool of water right here that then spills over. And looking down low, I don't want the water to come too far this way, but I need to figure out where I'm going to start building up, you know, the rocks on the edge, the shoreline basically. I don't want to go too far to the left here, so I may need to remove a little bit of this, build up here, have it come down a bit more on the inside there, so that I can put some rocks here and contain it. And if I come over here, that would be it. Pretty much, I'd have to level that a little bit. This would be pretty much a straight shot down, hit in here, and come down, probably flow on either side of this little peak here. So I could come off of here, down here, and maybe just that, just come down here. And again, to make that look right, I might have to build up a little bit right in there. Okay. I think I'm going to go ahead and chip that out a little bit. I can always build it back if I need to, but let me try that. Okay, to level this, basically all I need to do, all I should need to do, is just kind of grab it and twist. Well, that was easy. Just clean that up a little bit. Yeah, that looks pretty reasonable. So let me get some adhesive up there. Okay, let me mull that over, and then I think the next step will be to go ahead and build up the rock boundaries, the shoreline. All right, back in a bit. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and put some color on the new rocks, and I'm using Winsor & Newton Burnt Sienna for the orangish highlighting. We're going to start with that. We're just going to put a little bit in there. Oh, hold on. Just a little bit. It might even be too much. Let's see. All right. So let's, just to be safe, let's start a bit in the background there. This is very thin. I need to put a little bit more in there. There we go. Here's some color. I'm just trying to make it patchy. Let's come up here. Go to the back side a little bit. I think I need a little bit more paint in here. Oh, wow. I think I got a bit much on that one. Let's tone that down a little bit. Must have gotten a little unmixed dab in there. But I guess this one's going to be an especially dark vein here. All right, now we're going to do black, which is really just kind of, well, it's gray, and it'll really be just black. All right, that should be enough. Okay, now the gray goes over top, and basically it goes over the whole thing, even where we did the orange. It'll just all blend together. And if I want it darker, I just go over it more times. A little darker back in there. I have to go over it again. Wherever there's going to be water, it should be darker. Represent staining. Oops, wow. I got a big blob there. I'm trying to get that off, clean that up a bit. And we can put that back here. This needed to be darker anyway. Actually, that looks pretty decent right there. All right. Okay, I think that looks pretty good. It's a little dark because it's still wet, but we'll let that dry and see where we're at. I think we'll be able to move on to painting the river bottom next. So I've concluded that the base of the waterfall needs to come down further to the level of the river. I was going to kind of make a little, rapids that it would flow down rocks and so forth in there, but that just moves it too far under the bridge, I think, and so I'm going to basically cut a V out and add some plaster in there to push the river level back further. So let's do that. Oof. That could have gone poorly. That did go poorly. Uh-oh. Yeah, I might have to check that joint. Ow. Okay, before I finish the riverbed here, I need to put the fascia in place so that I can cut the opening for the riverbed and bring the Sculptamold right up to the edge. Now to do that, I'm going to have to kind of bend it around the corner here, and to help support the bend, I need to put something right here, which I've already cut out and profiled. You can see it follows the curve. So that's going to go right in there, and then the fascia can get clamped and bolted, screwed to that. So let me go ahead and get that in place, and then we'll work on getting the fascia bent in. Okay, let's start by getting this clamped in place, and then we'll mark where the bend starts. And we're going to use some Windex to soften, kind of soak and soften the hardboard. I haven't tried this technique before, but supposedly this will make it easier to form the radius without breaking. So let's give that a shot. Okay, looks like we want to start our bend right about here, and it's going to go pretty much the whole remaining length there. So let me go ahead and get that soaked for a few minutes and see what happens. Okay, I have soaked the area where the hardboard curves. Give it a good heavy soaking with Windex on both sides, and it's the original Windex with the ammonia in it, not the ammonia-free version. I believe that makes a little bit of a difference, so I've heard. So we're going to go ahead and see if we can put this in place and get it to conform to that bend without breaking. And let's give it a shot. Right. And let's see if we can squeeze this in a little bit at a time. Well, that seems to be working okay. Feels pretty pliable. Make sure that that's staying level. It feels about right. It's I don't want to pull that in too close. Let's do it. I think right about there. Okay, now that's wanting to pull it down. I think because the plywood is sticking out slightly further than the backer plate. That could be a bit of an issue. It looks like we can compensate. Right about there. Actually, I'm going to get something with a little bit deeper throat. Okay, let's see if this actually has a deeper throw. Yes, it does. So we should be able to get a little deeper in there if I have enough clearance. I think that is about as good as I'm going to get. Overall, I think that looks pretty good. Let's step back. Okay, well, at least visually, I think that looks pretty good. We'll go ahead and let that dry and hopefully take a bit of a set, and then we'll come back and we'll put a line of screws in there to keep it in place. Okay, time to get some paint on. I've taken a little bit of just Valspar flat interior latex paint and diluted it 1-to-1 with water. This is, in case you are interested, this is Sahara Dust, and this is Blue Nebula. So the idea here is I'm going to use this to represent the ground and the the shoreline. So I'm going to do this first, and then I'm going to blend in the blue for the deeper channels. And let's go ahead. And I don't know if this ratio is right. It could be too thick, could be too thin, but let's find out together. So let's start somewhere close by. Oh, okay. That's going on pretty smooth. I like that. All right, let's whip this out. Now, I did go back and forth on whether I should add in any river rocks and riprap and stuff before painting, but ultimately I decided I'd rather get some color down, kind of see where I'm at, and then decide, I think that'll help me decide on details. And by the way, I'm coming right up to the edge. When I paint the fascia, I'm not going to be painting the lip. I want the scenery to extend right out over the fascia there. Let me just touch up a little bit here and make sure that where we're going to do the channels is a little wet so we can blend. Just kind of wet through where the deeper parts of the channel is going to be, or at least where the edges of the channel are going to be. Like right through there. And also, we'll just kind of pull it over the edge here a little bit more, cover that up. It probably won't matter anyway since it'll be under resin. Okay, let me clean up this brush and we'll do some blue. And I would expect maybe a little deeper coming around here. Get it down into the deeper parts there. Maybe right up in between here. Bring this out. I mean, we're compressing scale-wise, but, that's just the reality of a layout. Leave a little bit of a margin there. Might lighten that right in the center there. There's a little bit of a hump, and I think it might look good if I made that a little bit of a shallow area there. Okay, all right, now let's do a little blending. Yeah, I need a little more beige on there. Getting a little too close. Well, the blue is definitely a lot stronger than the beige, so I need to cheat towards the beige end of this. Keep the brush clean, keep cleaning out the blue. All right, let's take a look. How does that look? Yeah, maybe a little too shallow. Oh, well, you know what? Given where that's at, I actually think that's not bad. I think that's plausible. We're gonna leave that. All right, let's take a look with the bridges in place and see where we're at. You know, I don't think that looks half bad. The next steps would be to put the details in the riverbed, boulders, riprap, any other details we want there before we pour resin. But we'll save that for the next video, so hopefully I'll see you then.